Hi, welcome to the video. I am so excited that I am back into vlogging. I really enjoyed my last vlog, even though I was kind of miserable while filming it. I am feeling a lot better now since my last video. With my new excitement of life, I finally am in a state of mind where I can properly be excited for the life of a showgirl. I'm gonna talk about my initial thoughts with the podcast. I also made a bingo card. I'm gonna share my bingo card with you. Let me just preface by saying, when the Eras tour was over and Travis Kelce lost the Super Bowl, I said to my husband, they're either gonna figure out they wanna break up or they're gonna figure out they wanna get married in the next 6 months. Because now both of them are kind of like normal people as much as they can be. Not on like the high of being at the top of the world anymore. So I was like, they're just gonna spend normal people time together. I'm sure they spent lots of normal people time together before, but now that's like the only thing that they are doing is normal rich people things. Not normal famous people things. Do you know what I mean? I don't even know if that makes sense, but to me it makes sense. When it was announced that she was going to be going on a podcast, on Travis's podcast, I was thinking, wow, she must be extremely confident in their relationship if she's going to choose to tie this piece of work, her 12th album, to Travis forever. That's what she did by announcing it on his podcast. So I was very shocked, and then I actually watched the podcast and I was like, wow, I'm a Taylor and Travis supporter through and through, and was before the podcast, but my eyes have kind of been opened since the podcast about the nature of their relationship and also Taylor Swift herself. I kind of had gotten this idea in my head that Taylor Swift wanted to be hidden and super private and super secretive, but it was actually Joe. And so it makes sense that now that she's dating someone else or engaged to someone else or in love with someone else, that a person like Travis allows her to experience the joy she has when she goes in public and puts on cute outfits and goes and does things. Like, she likes going out and about. And I kind of forgot that about her until she started doing it with Travis. Now I think the podcast was like the perfect place to announce this album, especially what we know about the album, about it being like more of a behind the scenes look on her life as she is touring, and she's this super big famous mega pop star on a world tour. She also like goes home to her boyfriend and watches TV. So it felt like a very casual announcement, but I also feel like that's kind of the point of the album. Not saying the album is gonna be about casual things, but part of the behind the scenes is that her life isn't glamorous or different from ours 100% of the time, if that makes sense. Anyway, I'm extremely excited for this album. Obviously, I have not been around for the last few album rollouts and releases. I was on a mission 3 weeks after Midnights came out, so I didn't get to fully enjoy the Midnights era. While I was on my mission, she went on the Eras tour, released Speak Now in 1989, Taylor's version, so I wasn't there for those rollouts, and she announced the Tortured Poets Department, and I came home 1 week before it came out. So I wasn't in the know about what theories were out there about it or what people thought it was going to sound like or anything like that. So The Life of a Showgirl is my first release I've been here for, like the announcement and the rollout, and I'll be here to see the entire album all the way through. It's been a while, so I'm very excited to see this era through and be a part of the fandom at this time. With that being said, other thoughts I have, obviously the Torture Post Department wasn't planned, but I do think that The Life of a Showgirl has been in her brain for a really long time, long enough that she had the color schemes and the theme kind of picked out in the Midnights era enough to drop Easter eggs. I totally believe those are legitimate Easter eggs. Of course, she wasn't planning on all of those things to happen to her with breakups and situationships and all of that, and Travis, and so the life of a showgirl was kind of put on pause while she was mourning her life with Joe, kinda. I think the fact that it's a very clear concept with very clear visuals is a very good sign. It sounds like she had an exact idea of what she wanted this album to be, and she is gonna nail the execution. We haven't gotten much in the rollout as far as fan interaction, I guess. Like, she hasn't, like with Midnight, she did like the answering the phone track list reveal every night, which was fun. This kind of just feels like another situation where she's so confident in the album, she's kind of not caring about the rollout as much and just letting the album speak for itself once it comes out. Which some fans, I think, are upset that the rollout has been somewhat boring, but I honestly just think the visuals themselves and the concept of the album and the knowledge of who produced the album is doing enough to create just as much hype as if she was doing very intentional promo. I am personally extremely excited that we're getting another Taylor Swift pop album. I love the Torture Pose department, and it honestly still satisfies me. Like, I still listen to it all the time, even a year and a half later, or however long it's been. So I don't necessarily need new Taylor Swift music as far as like I'm getting bored with the old stuff right now. Like, that's totally not the case. I did say multiple times this summer I'm craving new Taylor Swift music just because it's such a fun experience when she is releasing new things. It's so fun to be a Swiftie when she's releasing new things because everybody's theorizing, everybody's wondering, everybody's speculating. It's just a really fun time to be a Swiftie on the internet. So I'm really grateful that we have new music to talk about and to dissect and to analyze and to enjoy and to listen to. Let's get into my bingo card. Then I can have some more structured thoughts that I'm sharing. I hope that I get this edited and posted by the time the album comes out. It might be like Thursday, and then I'm gonna be posting my reaction video on Friday or Saturday. It's gonna be a double header as far as Taia vlogs, so look out for those. Okay, here's my bingo card. I'm gonna put it right here. Okay, now that you've seen it, let's go through the squares. I'm going left to right. My very first prediction is that the fate of Ophelia is going to be about how she is escaping or changing the fate of Ophelia. And before I even saw any videos on this theory, because I know it's not a new thing to say, I said that pretty much immediately after the track list was revealed, but I'm not like chronically posting on the internet, so I didn't get that out in time for people to credit me with that theory. I think it's just gonna be a love song, kinda, about how she was in a similar like situation as Ophelia. Her feelings weren't being 100% reciprocated in the end of her relationship, whether it's Maddie or Joe that she's talking about. I think both would work for this scenario. She was kind of pining after them, and they weren't giving her what she wanted as far as like emotional support and confidence goes, from what we understand from her previous songs. Ophelia like went mad and drowned herself, and that was her fate. Then Taylor experienced the same kind of heartbreak and unreciprocated love, and she, instead of dying or giving up, I guess would be the equivalent here, she kind of took over the world instead, released a new album and added another leg of her tour, and she found a man that was there to support her emotionally when she needed it. So I think that it's going to really be a twist of the fate of Ophelia, not she's experiencing the Ophelia. Okay, the next one is there's gonna be a song about sex. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I would honestly be very surprised if there wasn't. There's gonna be a lyric about feathers. I just feel like she's gonna be very descriptive about like showgirlness and vibes. She's had a lot of feathers going on in her pictures and visuals. We have a very specific color mention. And what I mean by this is not going to be like his eyes were blue. It's going to be like a very specific kind of color. I think she's going to mention very specific shades of colors in this album as well. It's a very colorful album. I think Wood is going to mention Pinocchio. I know that a lot of people think Pinocchio was there as an Easter egg, that she was lying about this only being 12 songs. I really don't think she's lying about that. I really think this is only 12 songs. She seems very intentional with this album. I just think that Pinocchio is going to make an appearance in a lyrical sense. I have a specific theory even about how Pinocchio is going to be related in Wood, and it's going to be that she is kind of up there on stage as a puppet, kind of made to dance and put on a show for you. And maybe there will be some reference to her relationship with Travis, making her feel normal, making her feel like a real boy or a real girl that's not made of wood anymore, that's not so performative. I don't know if it will have anything to do with Travis, but I do think at the very least Wood is going to be about her comparing herself to Pinocchio, being like a puppet on stage. The Life of a Showgirl title track, Sabrina's gonna get her own verse. I think she has heard the fans and their disdain for when artists are featured on a track and then don't actually sing on it. Sabrina feels like too big of an artist right now for her to miss out an opportunity to have her voice clear as day on this track on her album. She definitely doesn't need that, but I do think she knows how to give the people what they want. I actually am a little nervous about this track. I hope that Sabrina is brought on to sing Taylor's masterful lyrics. Sabrina has a beautiful, gorgeous voice. I love her music, but I hope the title track stays intact as a Taylor Swift song lyrically. I don't want Sabrina's writing on this album. That might be a really hot take. I would love to hear Sabrina's gorgeous, beautiful voice singing Taylor's gorgeous, beautiful writing. That's really what it comes down to. There's obviously going to be a song about Travis Kelce. I feel like that should have been a free space, but I was going to predict what songs would be about him, and I will talk about that, but it's not going to be on my bingo card because I really want to get a bingo. Let me pull up the track list really quick. The songs I do think could be about him: Opalite, Ruin the Friendship, Actually Romantic, Wish List, Honey. Those are the 5 songs I am most expecting to be about Travis. But that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be surprised if any of them are not. I actually will be surprised if Opalite is not about him. I also know a lot of people think Actually Romantic won't be a love song, but I think I'm more leaning to the theory that it's going to be a relationship romantic song, but in a way where it's like you're doing things that don't get talked about in romance very often, but are very romantic, like letting you pick the movie after a hard day, like things like no one talks about like that. This track list has kind of been very hard to make predictions for. I've seen a lot of really great theories, but I've also seen a lot of people agree that it's a tough track list to predict the contents of the songs. Old Hollywood reference outside of Elizabeth Taylor. Obviously Elizabeth Taylor is going to be, well, that already is an old Hollywood reference. I think that in another song somewhere there is going to be a reference, whether it's to an old movie or another old actress or actor. There's just too many old school Showgirl visuals and themes for this to not have another Hollywood reference somewhere in it outside of Elizabeth Taylor. Eldest Daughter is going to be a track 5 similar to All You Had to Do Was Stay. It's gonna be a bop. It's going to be upbeat. I do still think the lyrics are going to be maybe not sad, but definitely emotionally heavy. But I do think it's gonna be upbeat. I do. Canceled. It's not about Blake Lively. I don't think any song's gonna be about Blake Lively. I don't think she's going to touch that situation. But I do think it's going to be a blank space situation where she's kind of poking fun at herself, like, oh, I got canceled or whatever. I can't like do it in a way that's not cringe, obviously, because I didn't write the song. It's not about Vienna. It's just not. That title is already too unserious to be about such a serious situation. This is more of a hope than a prediction. But I really think / hope she uses at least one lyric or song to flex about how rich she is. I want there to be a song that's like, I am on top of the world, I am untouchable, I am so rich, I'm a billionaire, I can buy whatever I want. Some people think Wishlist is going to be that song. I think it's possible. I think there can be a lot of opportunities for that in an album like this. If she was going to do it on any album, it seems like Life of a Showgirl would be that album. Especially because in the podcast, she was talking about how the Eras tour was like something she'd never experienced before, and she thought she experienced like success and stuff like that, but the Eras tour was just like a whole nother level, and she's like, I've never experienced anything like that before. I'm really hoping she kind of leans into that stardom and that amazingness and the cockiness almost. I just want her to own that and be like, yeah, I am super rich and super famous and super successful. I'm wanting a song like that out of her. Words I have to Google. On the bingo card it technically is one word, but I'm actually assuming there will be multiple words that I don't know the meaning of. Then we have a lyric that makes fans feel guilty. This is going to be along the lines of the lyric in I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. All the pieces of me shattered as the crowd was chanting more. I remember seeing people be like, I feel so bad, we were asking so much of her and she was going through such a hard time and we just always are asking so much of her. I think there's going to be similar lyrics to that. As far as songs go and where I think that lyric is going to appear, I think it's going to either be in Canceled, The Life of a Showgirl, or Eldest Daughter. Reference to younger pop stars. I think this is likely to be an Eldest Daughter. I'm really liking the theory that Eldest Daughter is about her mantle as an artist that's kind of paved the way for a lot of artists. So many younger artists kind of look up to her and take inspiration from her and her songwriting, and she kind of wants to set the example in the music industry for them about how they can stand up for themselves and fight for their music rights and help them navigate fame in a way that's going to help them stay healthy, both mentally and physically. I think it's very likely that somewhere on here there's gonna be like a Nothing New situation, you know, a Lucky One kind of deal where she is referencing like, and now I'm the older pop star and this is what I'm hoping younger pop stars learn from me, in a way. Obviously, maybe this isn't obvious, this is another hopeful one. I want there to be a really iconic outro on here. I love when Taylor Swift does an outro, and I feel like she doesn't do them very often, but I'm really hoping that there is one here. My favorite outro of all time is the outro of All Too Well 10-minute version. I don't know if there are going to be songs on this album long enough to have an outro. They all seem to be in the 3-minute range. Oh my gosh, you scared me so bad. I'm filming a video. That was really scary. It's okay. Okay, the shiny bug thing. I think she is going to be the shiny bug. She is the shiny bug. I've been intrigued by this phrase ever since she released that vinyl variant, not even because the picture was amazing, but because that phrase in general is very thought-provoking when you are thinking about fame and the life of Showgirl and that theme. What I think of is when people collect bugs, like taxidermy bugs, is that a thing? When they find a shiny bug and they like pin it up so that it's all posed and beautiful, and people look at it and they're like, wow, look at the bug, in museums and stuff. I think she's going to feel like she's pinned up and posed and proper. She is the shiny bug. That's kind of my thought going with that. As far as iconic outros go, we also know we're gonna have an instantly iconic bridge. I don't think that even needs to be a bingo square. It's a pretty easy prediction. Bathtub lyric. She has made a point to make the bathtub and that part of her day the theme of her main album cover. So I think it's a possibility she could have some sort of lyric describing that feeling of coming home after a show and just getting in the bathtub and marinating in the glamour of everyone loving her and her being on top of the world. Maybe not that, maybe it's like, I'm in the bathtub and my life is so hard. There's gonna be a bathtub lyric. Mark my words. This is also kind of a given. She's gonna mention sometime midnight or later. I don't think I need to go through that. She literally made an entire album on the concept of midnights or later. She's probably gonna do it again. Description of an outfit is also one that I think would just be a cool visual, whether she's describing like a Showgirl outfit, one of her tour outfits, someone else's outfit. This is kind of a random prediction, but I just think it's likely. She likes to describe things in great detail, and I think an outfit would be a good one. That could be in tandem with the feather lyric, now that I think about it. I have seen a theory, or a prediction, I guess, not so much a theory, but a prediction that Sabrina Carpenter is gonna do one of her like spoken word kind of things.
Just trying different numbers. Didn't think that you'd pick up. Wait, no. When did you get here? Go put on some clothes.
She does a lot of those little spoken moments. I think there's gonna be one of those. I don't necessarily think it's gonna come from Sabrina Carpenter, but it might be from Taylor. Or it might be a sample like Idris Elba's "We Can Go Riding on a Scooter, you know, around London" kind of thing. Like, it could be something like that. Like, it could be someone's voice at the beginning of a track that's sampled, or some people think it might be Travis. Who knows? The next description that I am predicting she will make is the description of her dressing room. Whether this is what it looks like or something that happens in there, what she thinks about in there, I think there's going to be some description of her dressing room and her experiences in there. Dressing room just feels very on theme with Showgirl. Second to last square is my prediction that there is going to be a drug metaphor somewhere in there. I feel like there was a lot of mentions of drugs on the Tortured Poets department. I think this is also because she was influenced by Maddie Healy, but I think she kind of likes the metaphor of like something that's not a drug getting her high. But it's just a short album. Not all of these predictions and lyrics can come true unless I just have already heard the album, which I haven't. So, last but not least, I think she's going to talk about things that she likes about being famous. She has written a lot of songs that are kind of like, being famous is kind of hard in some ways, and I'm so exposed, and everyone's in my business. I think she also enjoys a lot of things about being famous, and I think we're gonna finally hear some of those things, because she said this was a very joyful album, and I think we're gonna hear some of that enjoyment from being on tour. It's very likely that we're gonna get some insight on what she likes about being famous, and rather than 12 songs about what she doesn't. That's my Showgirl bingo card. The next time I speak to this camera will be as I'm listening to this new album, which makes me very excited. Okay, have a good day. Happy listening.